Skinny Hardaway Southern Tea, back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I greatly appreciate you sliding through. If this your first time, do your boy a solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button as well. We talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, and predictions every single week. So let me hide this PFL Africa for y'all. My bad. That's the next show. My bad. Today we here with a boxing EP. We got two boxing predictions on this episode. We got Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, and also we got Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu. If you haven't checked out my earlier boxing predictions in the week, make sure you go check those out as well. I broke down three fights already this week. I already posted on the page. Alonso Koule versus Kevin Lorena. Koule versus Lorena. I also broke down. Hold on, y'all. I'm checking to make sure exactly. Koule versus Lorena. Usyk versus Du Bois 2, and Brandon Figueroa versus Joet Gonzalez. So if y'all haven't checked those out, make sure y'all go check those out as well. But again, with this EP, we got Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, right? So we gonna go and get into it. I already wasted enough of y'all time. We got Mario Barrios 29-2 with one draw, 18 KOs, has been stopped once himself. 30 years old, 6 foot, with a 71-inch arm reach. He's facing now in his last fight. He had a split draw versus Abel Ramos, right? He's facing off against Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is 62, 8-2. Yes, you heard that right. Manny Pacquiao has 72 fights in his career up until this point. 39 KOs and has been stopped 3 times himself. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao is 46 years old, 5'5" and a half with a 67-inch arm reach. So he's giving up about 6 to 7 inches in height. He's giving up 4 inches in arm reach. He's giving up 16 years in age versus Mario Barrios. Not really sure why Manny Pacquiao wants to return after about a 4 or 5 year layoff. Right? Maybe because he's a boxer and he just loves the game and that's how it goes, right? When you're a boxer, but he is making a return. If I'm Mario Barrios, at first I was one of the people. What's good, Bruce Gas? I've been good, Bruce. At first, right, I was one of those people. Sound check. Speaking of that, while you in here, let me sound check. I bet. Yeah, I was one of those people who was like, man, I don't want to watch this, but I still kind of don't want to watch. I am want to watch it though, right? But I was one of those people that was like, man, I don't want to watch this. It makes no sense for Mario Barrios to fight Manny Pacquiao, right? Don't nobody want to see this. And on the surface, right, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him to fight Manny Pacquiao. But when you think about Mario Barrios in his career, right, it does make a lot of sense for Mario Barrios. You get a Manny Pacquiao on your resume, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, right? He's older and he's older, longer in the tooth, right? So it would be an easier fight for you. On top of the fact it looks good on your resume. What you mean, Southern T? Well, Mario Barrio has a loss to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has a loss to Manny Pacquiao. Mario Barrios, right, could, in a sense, avenge his loss to Keith Thurman if he beats Manny Pacquiao, who beat Keith Thurman, right? So if you're Mario Barrios, this fight does make sense, right? Not really a fight that the fans ask for, right? It may end up being an exciting fight, given, the circumstances and whatnot, right? But Manny Pacquiao is facing the uphill battle. And I'm not saying that he can't beat Mario Barrios, right? But what I'm saying is I just can't take him to beat Mario Barrios, right? I just can't take him to beat Mario Barrios. God Body was good. If I'm not mistaken, God Body, this is going to be a pay-per-view. I think Tim Tzew's people are putting this fight on. I said on my other card that it was an Australian card. It's not an Australian card, but Tszyu's promoters are putting this on, right? But I think it's going to be a pay-per-view, right? So it's going to be a pay-per-view. But I digress. Right, shout out my guy, God Body. My guy Bruce said, I hope Manny doesn't win because I see him fighting Floyd for the title if he does, and that will suck. I personally, I'm taking Mario Barrios in this fight, to get out my prediction right. I'm taking Mario Barrios. I want to finish this EP within about, 15 to 20 minutes. So we got a little time to cook and chat and go back and forth, right? I'm predicting 2 fights, right? So about 15 to 20 minutes. So we got a little time to, dial it. I'm not picking Manny to win, Bruce Gas. I do have Mario Barrios, right? Just the fact that Manny is 46 and Mario Barrios is 30, right? He's in his prime. He's so much bigger. This is a 12-round fight, right? It's for a championship. This is a 12-round fight. Manny Pacquiao hasn't fought in 4 to 5 years. I almost see a scenario where Mario Barrios stops Manny Pacquiao, y'all. I'm tempted to take Mario Barrios for a stoppage over Manny Pacquiao. If Mario Barrios doesn't stop a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao, it's probably because he let him off the hook, right? And that's the dangerous part. You know what I mean? In this fight, is Mario Barrios going to go and do what he's supposed to do, or is he going to feel sorry for the legend and let him off the hook a little bit, right? But I think the best bet in there would be Mario Barrios, on the money line. It's at -290. You know what I mean? Not the sexiest piece, but you could parlay it with something else, another fight or two. It's at -275, right? Manny Pacquiao's +210. I got Mario Barrios in this. I low-key think that Mario Barrios is going to, stop Manny Pacquiao. I honestly do, right? But I will probably, play it on the money line and, maybe put it with another fight that you like. I picked Lawrence Okolie to win, right? So maybe you go Mario Barrios, Lawrence Okolie, and Alexander Usyk. You put those 3 together, right? Get you some nice little money and whatnot. But Mario Barrios for the win, right? I do think he beats Manny Pacquiao. Something is telling me the stoppage, right? But I can't see a scenario where Mario Barrios feels sorry for the great Manny Pacquiao. Maybe he let him off the hook. You know what I mean? But I do got Mario Barrios to win that fight. Now, the second fight that we're going to talk about on here was a little harder for me to predict than that first fight, right? Than the Manny Pacquiao-Mario Barrios fight. The second fight was a little harder for me to predict. This is Fundora versus Tszyu. In this first fight, right, I picked Tszyu, and Tszyu lost. Now, there's reasons. Like Tszyu started off really good, then he got his head split, and then he didn't look so good, and then it went to the cards, and I think Fundora won this fight, by split decision, you know what I mean, or something like that. But Tszyu ultimately ended up losing this fight in the fight where I picked him to win in the first one. Tszyu has since then went on to get stopped, right, by his name Bektamir, right? I'm probably saying his name wrong, right? But he went on to get stopped by I'm messing his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. The guy that Erickson Lubin got to fight next. I'm just gonna call him Beck. I think his name is Beck something, right? So we'll just call him Beck. He ended up getting stopped by Beck, right? In a fight where I also picked Tszyu to win, right? So Tszyu has lost the last 2 fights that I have picked Tszyu to win, right? So I'm walking around with that, which is giving me a little cause to pause to pick Tszyu. Sebastian Fundora has looked ever improving, right? He had a scare against Erickson Lubin, right? I think that fight was a lot more closer than people, want to realize, right? Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu, he had a scare against Lubin. His last fight, he stopped Cordell Booker. He beat Tszyu by a split decision in the fight before that. He got knocked out by Brian Mendoza 3 fights ago, right? So he has that Brian Mendoza knockout in there as well. This fight right here was hard for me to pick, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, because we've seen it once, right? But there's still a lot of question marks even surrounding that first fight. I'm one who kind of believes if Tszyu, right, doesn't get that gash in his head, and whether you know it or not, right, if you get a gash in your head, you're going to slow down at least a little bit, right? So Tszyu got the gash in his head, but before that, I think he was doing a hell of a job, right? Fundora has range and reach on everyone, but he's not a guy who necessarily uses it all the time. If you're going to allow Tszyu on the inside, that's where Tszyu wants to be. He can feel, a little fight shocked, from his last fight, or is Tszyu going to be able to shake that off, come out here and do what he's supposed to do? That's the biggest question in this, right? We got Sebastian Fundora, 22-1, one draw, 14 KOs, has been stopped once himself. 27 years old, 6'5", with an 80-inch arm reach. He's facing off against Tszyu. 25-2 is Tszyu Costa's boy, right? 18 knockouts, has been stopped once himself. 30 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch arm reach. So he's giving up 10 inches in arm reach versus Sebastian Fundora. He got a win in his last fight versus Joey Spencer, which was kind of a fight just to get him in here, get him going, to build a little momentum for this fight with Sebastian Fundora. If this low key, y'all, the scary part, right? This fight went to the cards the first time. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like this fight is going to the cards, right? But I don't know if I'm confident enough to bet it that way. Right? Again, one of the harder fights for me to pick. I'm still, kind of going back and forth with who I'm going with as we sit here and make this video. I did this fight second because I knew that I was going to take a lot more time with the breakdown of this fight. I'm not gonna let it out. This is not going to be a technical boxing match. This is not going to be, a Golden Gloves performance, right? This is not going to be no Sugar Ray Leonard, no Floyd Mayweather, no Pernell Whitaker. It's not going to be anything like that going on here. This is not going to be any Shakur Stevenson boxing lessons going on. None of that. This is going to be a brawl. This is going to be a backyard brawl, bar brawl. You get into it with somebody at the bar, y'all fight then and there. Y'all might go to the back alley. This is what kind of fight this is going to be. This is going to be a rock'em, sock'em, robot kind of fight. Is Tszyu going to be gun shy? Is Sebastian Fundora, was kind of getting overwhelmed in that first fight before the cut, right? Sebastian Fundora, if I'm not mistaken, is coming off of a draw. You know what I mean? Himself, right? Or am I tripping? But Sebastian Fundora is coming off, a with Tszyu. I mean, Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu are coming off a split decision. I said draw. Are coming off a split decision in his last fight, right? So understand, we're pulling hairs, right, picking this fight. Honestly, y'all, I'm going to go with Tszyu. I went with Tszyu the first time, right? I think he was doing good until, he got cut. My mind tells me Tszyu wins this fight. The value is with Sebastian Fundora, although it's just, plus 125, right? So either way, you know what I mean? It's pretty close, right? I'm going to go with Tszyu to win this fight. I think maybe this is a tough fight, y'all. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Maybe he just outlasts Sebastian Fundora, right? If he can avoid, getting cut in the first fight, I think he wins it. I think he avoids getting cut this time, and he's able to, do his work on Sebastian Fundora. The over and under in this fight is 10.5. Tszyu KO is plus 175. Tszyu decision is plus 260. So the books are telling us that this is pretty much a pick'em fight, right? The over and under is 10.5. 88% of the money is on the over, right? This is not a fight I'm comfortable going. You know what? I found it. This is the bet for this fight, right? What we go do in this fight right here, y'all, is we go take either fighter to be knocked down at minus 150, right? So the bet in Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu is either fighter to be knocked down, right? I do have Tszyu to win this fight. I'm thinking Tszyu wins this fight on the card. Something tells me this fight goes the distance, but I'm not overly confident enough betting on this fight to go the distance, right? But I do like either of these fighters to be knocked down. I do think they're will be a knockdown in here at some point. There wasn't a knockdown in their first fight with it. All right. No, let's see. The fight to go this is minus 120. The fight not to go this is minus 150. Basically, what Vegas saying right here, y'all, is y'all figure it out. That's what Vegas saying right here with this fight. Y'all figure it out. Don't ask us nothing. 62% of the money is on Sebastian Fundora, and Sebastian Fundora is still the underdog. Right now, we get into the betting side of it, right? So that means that the books are caught with Sebastian Fundora, with money coming in on Sebastian Fundora. So that means that Sebastian Fundora is still the underdog, which means that the books are okay with you being Sebastian Fundora, which means that the sharps, right, the people with, the big money, right, that move the lines, are probably leaning Tszyu at this point, right? But the books are okay with people betting on Sebastian Fundora. If you pay attention to this kind of thing, or if you're into this kind of thing, last week the fan pick was Edward Berlanga. A lot of money from the fans came in on Edward Berlanga. The books were okay with that. Not saying that that's what's going to happen here, right? Very well could happen the other way, where Sebastian Fundora knocks Tszyu out, right? You know what I mean? But I do see Tszyu, getting on the inside of Fundora, pressuring them, putting that pace on them, right? And I think he's able to outland Sebastian Fundora, whether he stops him or not. I'm not overly so either way, right? I am leaning Tszyu to win. I think either fighter to be knocked down is pretty decent at minus 150. Tszyu to win is minus 155. Either fighter to be knocked down is minus 150, right? But I do got Tszyu to win, not overly confident in it. Right? That's gonna be a tough fight, either way. But my pick to win it is Tszyu. My best bet in that will be either fighter to be knocked down at minus 150. Right? It's like my first mind says just going the distance, but as soon as I say that, my second mind tells me, bro, you think them folks about to go 12 rounds again? That was a hard 12 rounds to go there last time, right? Fundora has been stopped before. Tszyu has been stopped before. These guys have fought one another once before. This was the toughest fight of the week for me to pick. This Fundora Tszyu pick. But I do got Mario Barrios beating Manny Pacquiao in their first fight. I got Tszyu, you know what I mean, for the win as well. A little less confident in the Tszyu pick. Not saying that he's not going to win. I do think that he's going to win. I'm not even really, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in how that fight is going to end, whether it's going distance or it's not going to distance, right? There may be a fight where I just don't bet that way. I may not bet that main event until live. The Sebastian Fundora Tszyu, I may live bet. I'm going to live bet that fight, right? That'll be the fight that I live bet. But if you're looking for a pre-fight bet, I would say take either fighter to be knocked down, right? And I do got Barrios for the win. Man, Mario Barrios may stop Manny Pacquiao TKO, KO technical stoppage. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. I ain't gonna waste too much of y'all time, man, because I do got some bets to make for the night shift. The night game started at 6:30, 7 o'clock. Summer League, WNBA. I may come back for that. Y'all holler at me. I'm doing my PFL Africa tonight as well. We go do that about maybe 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? So make sure y'all tune back in. But Skinny Hardaway Southern T, this ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Love. Mario Barrios for the win over Manny Pacquiao, high confidence. And I got Tszyu for the win over Fundora, mid confidence. Ain't go